I'm going to call this regular council meeting to order here on March 19th, 2019 at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. We have additions to the agenda. I would like to have a motion for a letter of resignation to be read to council. Can I get a motion on that, please?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? 4-0. I'd like to, at this time, I'd like to read this resignation letter into the minutes. It's dated March 19th, 2019. Dear Council President, I regret to inform you that I must resign the office of mayor. I am no longer able to fulfill my duties, and I feel it is the best interest of the city to step down. I wish to keep the reasoning for stepping down to myself. I will note, for the record, that it is due to health concerns and personal matters. I would like to wish you all the best of luck and give my best to the community as well. I tender my resignation effective immediately. Thank you, Dakota S. Tucker. Additions to the agenda. Land bank discussion. 10-minute executive session for the land bank discussion. Ordinance 1061-19, enhanced cereal malt beverage. Ordinance 1062-19, illegal dumping. Any additions to the agenda?
You probably ought to put accepting that resignation on there.
I move to have that resignation letter accepted by council. Do I have any,
We probably need to talk about what happens then. We can do that after, under me, or we can do that at that time.
Talking about what?
What happens after you accept that resignation?
So would you need to do that in open session?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you said, understand.
So we need to add that to the agenda you just said?
Right, I mean, that's fine, we just add it to the agenda.
okay,
We're talking about additions to the agenda, right?
yeah, I just added that to it, so.
Do we need to add something under you to take care of that?
No,
Okay.
We'll just talk about it at that time.
So I just needed a motion.
Yeah, so moved.
To approve the agenda,
The
additions,
Additions to the agenda, yeah.
making sure I'm on the same page.
Yep.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? All against? Motion carries 4-0. John, do we need to discuss this resignation letter and what happens now? Or do you want to move that to the very end?
Just whatever you want to do it. If you want to do it under new business.
Yeah, let's take care of that under new business. So,
Well,
I thought you said it was under you.
Actually, why don't you just take care of it in the mayor's, or the,
Let's just take care of it now, because what happens is you effectively become the mayor, so that we can start this meeting as
okay.
you as the mayor. So I would go ahead and, somebody needs to make a motion and accept the resignation letter. And
I'd make a motion to accept Dakota's resignation effective immediately.
Second.
All those in favor? All those against? Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, so Mark is now the mayor, which means you need a new council president. At some point, Mayor Bryant's gonna have to present council with a list of, or one person, or however you wanna do it, as mayor, to replace you in your open seat.
All right.
You serve for the length of Dakota's.
Which is the same as mine.
Okay, and I don't remember, I feel like he's only been mayor for a year or so.
Yeah.
So you're at the start basically of that time period. But I don't care when it happens during the meeting, but you guys need to pick a new council president for the
Well,
end of the meeting.
I've already discussed that with Councilman Sanders, and I'd like to ask him to be president of the council,
I'll do it.
so.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 3-1.
So you're saying that Mark comes up with the list of people that he'd like
Well,
on there?
he doesn't even have
or
to
do we-
prepare a list, he just, the ordinance says that he has to appoint somebody, same as everything else, and then with the consent of council.
So he could pick and then we approve.
Somebody has to make a motion, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be the same when we put Jim on when the last mayor resigned.
Less controversial, but yeah.
Should have been. I'll have a list of names by next council meeting for council to look at. If you have any suggestions, I'm open to suggestions. If you don't have my email, you can get it from Jamie. You should have my phone number. You can text me, call me.
Are you
Just let me
giving me permission to give out your cell phone?
Huh? It's on the website. It's not like it's private
Just
information
trying
anymore.
to cut the thick air.
Okay, let's see here. All right, moving on. Do we have any citizens' comments this evening? Yes, please.
Economic Development last year approached you guys about a letter of support for our shared workspace over here in the building where the pharmacy was. And that's when we were applying for a federal grant, similar to what we did with the grocery store. Didn't end up following through with that because we were lacking letters of support from employers, which we needed to make that grant application a go. So we are currently working on a grant application for USDA. It's not asking for any financial commitment from the city at all. It's basically just your support in the project that we're doing. So the grant application, we are looking to have rural jobs, remote jobs for individuals out of the incubator space. So we are applying for funds to do some renovations, basic renovations to that building, and then the biggest thing is putting computer equipment in there for individuals to use if they get these jobs. We'll put them through a training program. Honestly, we're targeting the Circles program. Those individuals, really hoping to get them employment if they go through this training. That's the letter that Carolyn and I worked on. If you guys are okay with it, we ask that the mayor sign it. We'll have to edit that.
Edit. Yeah.
But
Is that okay to get to you? He comes in the mornings.
that's fine.
Is that gonna be?
The grant application's due next Friday, so if I can have it for sure
Yeah, we can get it
by
done
then, that
tomorrow
would be
morning.
awesome. But like I said, we're not asking for a financial commitment from the city, it's just
A support.
Just support.
Just
Okay.
John, do we have to vote on something like that?
It would be nice too,
Okay.
the minutes can be reflected, it shows.
Without reading all the way through it, as far as I know. It's
I
support,
didn't read
you
it
know,
word
but-
for word, but I scanned through most of it.
It's
just a
basically
letter of
the
support.
same letter that we gave permission for Dakota to sign back. Was it June of
June of last year. Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
And a lot of it aligns with, I know Mark and Sherry were part of that meeting back in 2017 over at the annex. We had WSU come in
Oh,
and kind
yeah.
of
I
do
said it
some
on-
strategic
I think I got in
planning.
on one of them.
Yeah.
Mainly focused on the grocery store development, but out of that, lack of businesses and jobs was one of the main concerns that we got from community members. And then aspirations, keep and grow businesses, the business incubator, and then new and better housing. So I mean, it's kind of aligned with, I feel like, everyone's vision in a way. So job creation is honestly the biggest thing from this,
Absolutely.
so.
Okay. I'd like to,
I see no issues with the,
yeah.
I mean,
I don't either.
I'd make a motion to go ahead and sign the letters. Support.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I did.
Okay, motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries 4-0.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And you'll get this change written, I'll take care
Yeah,
of
I
it in the
have
morning.
it.
Okay, all right. Do you need this?
No, I have the official wrong paper right here.
Any other citizens' comments? Okay, moving on. Consent agenda. Approved minutes, regular council meeting, March 5th, 2019. Appropriation ordinance number 319-19 in the amount of $16,178.61 and petty cash of $263.99. Any other discussion?
So moved.
I have a motion on the table. A second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sanders and Christie.
Mr.
All
Mayor,
those in, I'm sorry.
Before you vote,
Yes.
in the future, I would suggest you would do the minutes in one motion and appropriation the other, because they're two totally different things, and we may have discussion. And if somebody's not at a meeting, you really cannot vote to approve the minutes. They probably should be done separately.
Okay.
And we're probably gonna run into that with anything as far as appropriations for like me and Ryan or something, if a
Good
business
point.
that we're related to.
Right. I'll figure out an easier way to make it flow.
Okay.
We'll just move to accept the minutes and then vote to do
Just as a
the
reminder.
appropriation.
Okay. All right. All right, let's,
I think we can leave it the same for now, though,
Mhm.
the motion that was made now.
Yeah.
okay,
It's fine.
okay.
Do it, change it in the future.
We'll change it in the future, okay. All right, so 4-0 is the motion. Let me vote on that. So. Okay. Next on the agenda, Adams, Brown, Barron, and Ball audit delivery.
Stand over here. I'm Danielle Hollingshed. I'm with Adams Brown Barron and Ball. We did your audit this year, and it went really well. I'm going to go through the audit report. I kind of go fast, so if you have any questions, want me to slow down, just tell me. I'm going to start with the bound report, and then I'll go over the letters after that. So if you turn to page 1, 2, and 3. Actually, just 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is our independent auditor's report, and on page 2, in the second and third paragraph is where we are issuing our opinion on the financial statements. That's the most important piece of this audit. We are giving you an unmodified opinion, and that is the highest opinion you can receive. That means your report, we don't believe there's any material misstatements within the audited financial statements. So that is what those paragraphs are stating. We do your report on regulatory basis, meaning we follow Kansas Municipal Accounting and Auditing Guide. We do not do full accrual basis. If any of your business owners have to do financial statements, we follow cash basis. So that is kind of what those two paragraphs are stating. If you turn to page 3, this is a financial statement that we're actually issuing the opinion on. And at the end of the year, you had ending unencumbered cash of $3.2 million. This is an overall cash increase of $415,000 from the prior year. You had encumbrances and accounts payable of $95,000 at the end of the year. The overall cash increase is actually attributed to several of the funds, but the main one, your water and light, went up $119,000. And then your water system capital improvement fund, you went up $52,000. And then the city sales tax, which went into full effect last year, went up almost $70,000. So that's where a lot of your cash increase is sitting at the end of the year. Any questions on that statement? Okay. The next several pages are the footnote, what we call the footnotes to the financials. This just goes over your guys' accounting policies that you're following currently. We also have to look at compliance and make sure that Kansas statutes are being followed. We didn't have any statute violations, so you won't see anything in there for a statute violation. But I will have you, I'm not going to go through the footnotes, they're just, like I said, additional info that you probably already are aware of because of the policies you're following. But if you turn to page 12, this is our long-term debt. And at the end of the year, you have $946,950 in principal left to pay. And your KDHE loan, which is the one that's the longest, is expected to be matured in 2033. Okay. And the next several statements, actually, if you turn to page 13, this is your budget to actual expenditure statement. And this compares where you were at the end of the year per the budget to what you actually spent. We had no budget violations at the end of the year. You still had some budget authority left in most of your funds, which is what we expect to see. And we do a comparison to the 2019 budget to make sure you're gonna be okay for 19, because that can really make a difference. And you're sitting okay to your 19 budget. And then the next several statements are actually just supplementary statements. They go through each one of your funds and what you spent throughout the year. I can go through each one if you would like me to. I don't typically unless you want me to. There's nothing, you guys had a pretty quiet year actually. You may not say the same, but there's not huge variances between the prior year and 2018. So there's not anything that kind of jumps off the page on any one of these funds. Do you guys have any questions as to what you can spend in any one fund that you would like me to go over while I'm here?
Something I spoke with you about when you were here. I would like to maybe get more info, and I'll get a hold of you, but just to run it by them, to maybe have her come out, maybe to a meeting, or even set up a special time, so we can just go over, I think you said maybe a couple hours it would take, to just kind of go over some of the budget things and the difference. I mean, it's obviously completely different than our checkbooks at home. So I kind of reached out to her and asked, you know, what it would take. It's not going to be that expensive. I think for what we're getting out of it, it's going to be beneficial for all of us. And so that's something that you guys need to put on your radar, because I want to schedule that. So if that's okay with everyone.
I'm good with it.
We did make an adjustment to your funds this year, and I think it's on your, is it on your?
Yeah.
The equipment reserve fund and capital improvement fund are two separate reserve funds, and they have very specific things you can spend out of them. Your equipment reserve fund can only be for equipment. Your capital improvement fund can only be for improvements to capital work projects or buildings or streets, things like that. We had money going into them just mixed up, so we did, Jamie and Pam went through those and got those cleaned up. So you'll see some additional transfers that we had to make to get those cleaned up to the balances that they were supposed to be.
I'm assuming those deal with the fire, police.
Yeah,
Stuff like
the
that.
way that it appears to be set up, it was my understanding that they were saving for vehicles, which is not allowed with the way they set up the fund. So when they took the money for the police car out of capital improvement, it was correct, because you can't buy vehicles out of Fund 50. So what they did was right, but in my mind it wasn't right, because that's not the money they're saving for. So we'd made that transfer, and then when we went over everything, we had to pull it back out and then pull the money that.
You also cannot transfer from capital improvement to municipal equipment.
Yes.
So we had to do some back. You guys had enough budget room, we could fix it this year, so that's why we did that.
So we have the funds fixed and
Yes.
the line items in capital improvement now, to where when we're doing the budget line by line, we'll be able to add in that amount in capital
Equipment
outlet.
reserve.
Yeah, equipment reserve.
This is where all your vehicles are.
So,
The money that was being saved was put into capital outlay.
yeah.
Capital
And-
improvement.
And
Yeah,
capital improvement,
yeah.
which
And
is
you
why
can't
it's
buy-
confusing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
And
we
it
have it
really needs
fixed.
to be put into the equipment
Right.
reserve special fund for the police department.
Right,
Okay.
Right.
pretty much.
Wording.
Are you
Yeah, that's
asking
pretty
about
much
the
what
bill
it is.
bond? Are you asking about the bill
Pages.
bond?
No,
Okay,
I was looking at the interest on the Wade Memorial Fund.
okay.
Oh. That's probably about
Because there
right.
isn't, isn't there something with, is it our go bond that wasn't
Yes.
closed out properly?
It wasn't closed out like 2 years ago, 18, but 17 when it was budgeted. So we had to leave it in there again this year because we didn't have budget authority. We have budgeted for it in 19, it will be fixed in 19 and will be closed out. Because of that, the way the budget was done, we didn't have enough
150 by
budget
50.
room in the bond and interest to pay your full principal payment this year. So you will see in the general fund that you had to pay some principal out of there for the bond, just because of budget issues.
0.2%. No, we're just
We're
talking-
looking at the interest received on
Where
the
is
WIT
that at, Jim?
funds.
36.
What page?
Those are CDs.
Did you say which page?
36.
You're a
Skip
long
ahead,
ways
right?
down there.
Get ahead of it.
It doesn't show what the total principal and CDs were, but if it's 50,000, then 0.238, which is no money at all.
I'll have to defer that one to James. Do you know what your WIT
That's
CD
what I've been
is?
saying, it's 50,000.
50,000 is 0.238 then,
On your paper I just gave you, or,
0.3. Three,
I didn't.
150 divided by 50.
Yeah.
0.3,
it's a
0.3%
$50,000 certificate.
I was just jumping ahead when we discussed it.
And maybe when it pays out too?
Well, the Whit Memorial has been a hot topic because of the interest and what it's allowed for, so they are looking at those numbers to be able to.
See if you can spend it. If you don't have any further questions on the financials, I'll go over the two letters. We have to issue, what we call recommendations. We didn't have any major recommendations this year. We do have to look at material weaknesses. These are things that are very, very significant and need to be addressed right away. Significant deficiencies are just, not quite as significant, but they're still things that need to be addressed right away. And then we have a second letter that's just for general comments. Just things that we see as we're out here that we just recommend getting fixed. So the first letter, the only significant thing we have is segregation of duties. And that's not gonna change just because of the size of the city. I will say, now with you guys going from 3 to 2, it's just really important that you guys stay active as a board. Make sure you're looking at anything you can look at, just to protect them and to protect yourselves. So nothing wrong with going down to 2, just something that, internal controls, make sure you stay active. And then the comments are in the governance letter. And it starts on page 2. Like I said, these are pretty minor. They're just internal control recommendations. The first one is physical inventory. We just always recommend natural disaster strikes. Have some sort of listing at the end of the year. Once a year, doesn't necessarily have to be the end of the year, but once a year, whenever maybe they're slower. Kind of go through their equipment, their physical things they have in the shop, put a list together for insurance purposes. Bank reconciliations and journal entries, they have to be signed off, or we recommend they are signed off by not only the preparer but also the reviewer, just to show that 2 set of eyes are looking at it. And we recommend that council members receive a budget to actual expenditure, so that when you're approving appropriations, you're monitoring where they're being paid out of. And then the last one I think you guys already touched on, just making sure in the minutes that you reflect who the vendor is, who you're paying, and then if it is someone sitting here that you abstain from voting. And that's all we have.
So they're voting for the whole thing?
Just for
All-
their piece.
Okay.
Yeah, they just shouldn't approve themselves.
And I think that Pam and I are gonna reach out about the budget to actual expenditure report sheet. she included something this month, or this meeting,
Okay.
that she had been working on, and then I got some stuff last week, in one of my classes
Oh,
that
good.
I want to, it's basically just taking the numbers from and showing them how much we need in reserve, just so they can see that number.
With cash too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
so we might be reaching out to see.
No problem.
All right, any other questions? Comments? Nothing? Great.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Does that sales tax number include stuff in the TIF district?
The what?
We don't see the TIF
You don't
district
see
money.
TIF district?
It goes straight to the county.
It goes, no, I think it goes straight back to them. I think it's directly paid to,
It doesn't come in here at all?
That's the way I understood it.
No.
This goes straight to them. Back to the
So it's 139,000 plus whatever was made at the in the TIF district?
yeah, that TIF district receives that money back to itself against its own.
Okay,
Well,
I didn't know whether you got
Yeah, it doesn't,
numbers or anything on that. So you have no idea what the grocery store generates in
sales tax, no,
sales tax, it's economic development?
I don't think so.
I
Oh, well,
She knows, because we get the sales tax
Yeah.
checks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
But it automatically goes to economic development, or
Like I
it
check.
doesn't run through the city
Yeah,
though.
I,
It's not tied
every
in
month
with our
I go in
1%.
and obtain the information, and then, I give economic development their portion of it.
I just wonder if that number would be a number that the city would wanna know
I would think so.
quarterly or monthly or something, council. Only because.
I don't know if I have the ability to give you that number. I'll have to go back through my email.
Okay, then I assume it'd be subject to open records.
Oh, I'm sure you can find it somewhere on the state's. But
I don't know why I thought
it's
it
not
was like
included
not
in
a
our
shareable-
1% is what you're asking.
Well, and it's like when the city writes the check for $50,000, it writes annually. I would think you would wanna see what else is being brought in
Right,
to the grocery store in the TIF district.
Well, true, but I guess
But
it
it
doesn't
doesn't
really
really
matter
matter.
because we voted on to give it to them for 10 years.
yeah, we're giving them 50,000 no matter what, but as long as that TIF district's in there, we'll never see any of that money anyway, of the 1%.
But eventually it's gonna get paid off, and it may be paid off before then. It's just a thought, maybe we need to look into it and see what all information we can share.
Okay, I didn't staple them because I didn't know if I signed one's for you, one's for me.
Did you have them signed?
No, they don't come in here before. Did you want, I didn't know if you wanted,
You can drop it off at the office if they want to sign it later.
okay. You need everyone's signature?
Just one person.
Oh,
It's usually the mayor.
there you go, Mr. Mayor.
It's a good thing we got
Think out.
you
What do you guys
started
think?
on the right foot.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the knowledge for what the TIF district brings in, I think you could probably get on the computer and find it yourself if you want to know how much.
Doesn't really matter to us.
No, because it's not going back
I
to
think the
our.
biggest thing with that was the property tax above and beyond, I mean, with the improvements that were made, go back to paying the debt of the
Right.
project.
Just since it doesn't say.
Sales tax stuff is probably public knowledge, I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Sign this
I mean, reported every month.
Right.
Yeah, but see, they also get that 1% sales tax back to them, direct to, through the TIF district. So it doesn't actually flow into our 1% sales tax.
I was just curious, those numbers.
I think that's
are,
everything
I think a
else.
lot higher than we predicted.
They
which
are.
is not-
Back to Echo D,
But that's from like year before
Right.
too, right?
Where
That's
does
ever
that
since we
sales
started
tax
collecting,
go?
you know?
Oh, the 130.
That sales tax goes back against the money owed on that
back
property.
to P and I,
Yeah,
principal and interest.
yes, I believe so. I believe that's how all that TIF district works, is it all goes back towards that project that,
It's the debt of the project, that's all
Yeah.
it can go towards.
Yeah, I mean, it was 39,000 above what was budgeted for reading that correctly. Collection.
and that's probably true.
Yeah, I could believe that.
Yeah, because we were just kind of in the air of what type of money the 1%
So I
sales
think
tax
the
was going to
first
bring in.
payment we made was like, we had like already collected 120,000 or so.
Yeah,
You know, so then we've been collecting ever since that, which was
Yeah, cause we
6
made
months
that,
ago, probably.
yeah, October,
Yeah.
I think is when that first payment was made last year.
Okay, unless there's any other discussion, I'd like to move on. Move on to department heads. Grant Administrator, Lisa Cornwell. Have we heard anything from Lisa? Nothing?
No.
Nope.
I talked to her about looking into a few things, but I have not heard back with any answers.
Anybody got anything for Lisa, for Jamie to pass on? No? Okay. Police report.
Everything's going really good. I turned Octavio loose on his own, so we are able to split the shifts now.
Okay.
So we'll cut down on my overtime a little bit. He's doing great. I think he's gonna make us a good officer.
Good.
So it's the only thing I've got.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Sergeant Elliott?
The issue with the truck is resolved.
Yes, issue with the truck is resolved. It was 4 quarts low on oil. So it has been resolved. We have got a plan in effect I've got with Dave on the city crew. We're gonna start setting the trucks up for every 3 months or 3,000 miles, oil changes. I've got with Octavio already. We're gonna start checking oil, equipment, everything at the beginning of the shift, so this don't happen again. So I've already got it all prepared out to,
Hold 7 quarts.
Not 3.
Anybody else have anything for Sergeant Elliott?
Nope.
Okay, moving on. Fire Chief.
I think
Michael.
the only thing is the city-county agreement.
Okay.
The county, do you want me to do it? Do you guys?
You got the agreement. I hope you do.
Well, it's in one of my files somewhere. We'll find it.
The only thing that was changed was the county attorney wanted to change the automatic renewal of the agreement. After the first 20 years, it goes to renewing every year instead of for an additional 20 years. So the agreement that you guys all had last meeting, the only difference is that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal.
It just automatically renews unless somebody opposes it. But instead of doing 20-year increments, after the first 20 years, it goes to year to year.
Year to year, okay.
put that on the
It
calendar.
was waiting for a signature.
Okay. All right. So, do I need a motion on it?
Yeah, to give you permission to sign.
Okay, I'd like to see a motion to approve the training facility cooperative agreement for the St. John Fire Department. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, well, we'll get started on it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mike? Okay, moving on. Let's see here. City Clerk, Jamie,
Huh.
what you got?
Well, pass that off.
I regret asking that.
We are still looking for sponsors for Jubilee coming up. Our Easter egg hunt is also coming up, and we are actually, we're gonna partner with Rec. And we have decided to, do one Easter egg hunt this year, and we're gonna do that the Saturday morning one. Sandy and I have been in contact, and we are going to get that all figured out. So we'll start advertising for that as soon as we get all of the details out, and hopefully that will be a beginning to a nice partnership with all the other stuff I got going on. I got a phone call the other day, and I was gonna print out the stuff. Basically, someone called about special assessments on their taxes. He can't get out of his house. so I told him I would talk to you guys about it, but it's already, I think it was from mowing letters, they've been assessed. He says his property was mowed, our guys say the property wasn't mowed. I don't know if it was when I was here, it's the same one I've been emailing you about for all that
If it's
information.
property that's going to tax sale because he's refusing to pay it, as far as I'm concerned, if he's not gonna pay it, then it can go to tax sale. When it goes to tax sale, if they sell it, I'd be more than happy to relinquish assessments to the person that owns it after the tax sale, but not to an individual.
Do we have a tax sale? Wasn't there a petition filed?
There's one
County.
coming up sometime.
Yeah. Okay, I just told him I'd bring it up to you. He hasn't called in a couple years, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess we probably ought to be talking about that, whether we want to relinquish assessments on some
Yeah,
of
we
the
always
properties.
do, and we probably don't do it properly. I don't remember us voting on a motion for it. I think it's
I
just
think we
kind of
did last
assumed.
time we did one.
I don't recall whether we did or didn't.
I think so.
I think we did, because we were interested in purchasing for land bank as well last time, a few of them.
I just don't remember offhand.
Sent somebody.
We just need to make a motion to do that though, don't we? Just relinquish them on the day of tax sale
Yeah,
to the new owners.
yeah, I mean, as close to tax sale as possible because you don't want to do it now and then. have
But
them
we
pay
could
their
make a
taxes.
motion that on the day of the tax sale, a minute after it starts,
Whatever properties are sold at tax sale shall be free of city assessments.
to
Have
the
they,
new owner.
have they announced the date for that yet?
I don't think they've set the date yet,
I
no.
thought
They
they
had to publish it for
Yeah.
several weeks and then.
Yeah.
I know they were waiting, so there's that. I guess we can visit that when it gets closer, hopefully.
Yeah, because I would
I'd be
think
glad to
it,
make it disappear once somebody else buys it.
Yeah.
Fine for me.
Just a few other things I'm working on. Ashley and I are going to be going to a training to look at some opportunities to try to find answers for 5th Street and even some housing opportunities to get started on some of that. I've reached out to the mayor over in Stafford. She's been working on a land bank for Stafford, and with all of her research recently, I reached out and asked if she had kind of even just a general letter to send out to some of these property owners that have been vacant. And she's doing some checking for me so I don't reinvent the wheel and spend too much time on it with my awesome writing abilities. Is there
Talking about as far as donations,
basically,
I think we've done that before.
I know I talked
we've
about
done
it,
it
but
on the dilapidated housing. I think they're talking some of these that people own that no longer live there and they don't rent them out.
Yeah, and usually, and I'd have to go back and review the statute, but I think the city can even go to the county commission and it's kind of controversial, but basically say the city land bank wants these houses, can you take them out of tax sale? And if they don't get purchased or
But the
paid
land
off.
bank could buy them from the tax sale as well though.
does that have to do
You
with,
could, but you kind of get first dibs, and so you avoid the
Well, see, I know how
bidding against
Stafford used to
people.
do it. Stafford used to go in and pay the back taxes that were owed prior to the sale in Stafford, and they could own them.
Okay.
But they were paying all the back taxes, so if there was $4,000 owed on
Yeah,
it,
let me look at that, because I don't think that's even a requirement now. I mean, it's an agreement between you and the county, so the county's waiving the taxes just as if you guys are waiving the assessed fees. And sometimes some counties do that anyways, they're gonna start bids at $1 instead of at the, whatever's owed on the properties.
well, see, and I think all they do is $30 is what they start them out here, just enough to cover the sheriff's deed
And
paperwork.
the point being, you're not, so it's controversial in that, are you gonna bid against your citizens that may want the property, or you wanna avoid
It
that?
might be cheaper to just buy them at tax sales than any other foreclosure or anything else that we can do, is just buy.
Yeah, Yeah, if you can get them bought before they go to auction,
Yeah,
sheriff's sale.
kind of what we thought about doing in the past is approaching those who are going to lose their property through tax sale and say, hey, look, we're not offering you accounting or legal advice, but you may get a tax benefit on your federal
donate.
taxes
Donating.
by donating the property. And I don't know if we've ever had anybody bite on that at all.
I was just gonna send out a mass letter to like every vacant house in town, tax sale or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking there's one already drafted. I mean, I just have to have Melissa find it. I can get you something like that.
And I'll be signing up for the 2020 budget training. That's coming up here pretty quick, so we'll be doing that. I think that's it. Oh, no, I am starting classes tomorrow night. It's a program between Pawnee County and Stafford County. It's Startup Central Kansas. There's several of us from a few surrounding communities it's a Wednesday night class, so it's a 8-week thing, so we'll be getting that done and hoping we can continue to keep moving forward.
All right. Anybody have any other questions for Jamie?
I don't think so.
Moving on. City Superintendent Jeff.
Just a couple things at this time. One is regular county cleanup week, April 1st to the 6th. As usual, the stuff we'll pick up, the stuff we won't. Anything that people have a question on, they call into the office. Basically the same as it has been the last few years. So nothing new about that. The other thing is, this is the 5-year anniversary of EPA compliance testing. We have to test for EPA to keep our generation rights. We'll do that. We have slated to do that on the 22nd and 23rd of May. We run each engine about 3 hours. We have to have a compliance officer come out when we do it. The cost to do that is up a little bit. I think it was $10,000 the last time. It's $12,000. It's $7,500 for the first engine. I think it's $1,500 for the second and third, and then plus paperwork and that stuff. But we have to reply by this coming Friday to give the EPA 60-day notice that we're going to generate on that date. We can't be any later than the 5-year term, which is the 28th and 29th of May, so we have to do it by the end of May in order to get, and I've got the same person lined up to do it as did it last time. It's just, I mean, it's a have to keep your generation, so it's just kind of part of the game.
Does that have to do with emissions, Jeff?
Yeah, they check the emissions. She runs them for 3 hours. They fill out all the paperwork, which is like some of you remember an old Sears and Roebuck catalog. That's about what it's like, just to stay happy with the government. So anyway, that's really all I have at this point in time.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Jeff?
Jeff, we don't need to approve anything, do we?
$12,000.
Just to pay her when we get done, and we don't have to do that tonight.
I mean, it doesn't keep you from signing that and telling them, getting it back to them. I mean,
That's up to you. I mean, if you
Well,
want to give me the approval to do it, so,
well, yeah, we gotta do whatever it needs to be.
you know.
Is that a good price though?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of travel involved, you know, and there's a lot of paperwork involved, and I mean, there's a lot of equipment it takes to test those exhausts, and it's fair. I mean, it's up a couple thousand from what it was 5 years ago, so, I mean, I don't think it's exorbitant. There's only 2 places in this part of the country that do it. So, it's not like people stand in line to do this to deal with the EPA regulations, so.
Was there a way we can do it just to approve, or just make the motion to approve and have it done?
See a contract?
All I have is an email right now. I'll get a contract, but I don't have it tonight. I have to, you know, all I have is
So maybe we
a
need to
quote
go
for
over
what
him
it
to
costs.
sign?
That's it.
I think you can give him permission to move forward with the required 5-year EPA testing.
In a motion or just consensus?
It's just a quote. You know, it's what we got the last time, that's all it is.
Just do it in a motion form.
I'd make a motion to go ahead and approve Jeff to continue with the emissions with the state or whoever.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Who wants?
Oh, sorry.
Sanders and Christie. Any more discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Jeff, going back to Fifth Street, what's the deal with the rock that we made a motion to buy to finish off the west
Waiting
side?
on everything to get dry enough where we can pull it up. It's sitting in a pile down at the pole yard.
Oh, you guys already bought the rock?
Oh, yeah, the rock's
I didn't pay
here.
attention to that.
It's just that the ditch on that north side is so soft, until the frost comes out of the ground, I think it's kind of a waste of time to do it. So,
Alright.
we're kind of putting it off. This time of the year, the sun doesn't get up high enough to dry that out very well either. It's been pretty soggy, so as soon as it dries out enough, we can do it, we're gonna do it. We've got the material.
Have you done anything, I guess, on West Street?
We have not touched it.
Nothing at all?
No, we haven't. We have not. Kind of the same notion, I mean, this time of year and as much moisture as we've had. And then that'll require a whole nother vote of how much rock you want to put on it, so.
Yeah, well, it'd be good to get a plan going.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
house on West Second.
We have not touched it because the fire department's still using it. When they're done, we'll tear it down. So,
Okay.
You done, Mike?
No.
he wants to keep it as long as he can. It makes
It's
a
been
good
too
trading
cold.
place, you know, and it's the wrong time of the year to do very much, so. We couldn't get in there, I don't think, with the loader as soft as it is anyway.
We wanna train a couple more times in it for it.
Okay.
It's been too cold to pump water or anything like that, so,
You only pump water when it's cold, when you absolutely have to.
yeah.
Unless you want it
And
all
not even
run
when you-
through where it doesn't freeze, exactly right.
All right.
Does that, on the West Street from Santa Fe to the highway, does that just need to be graded when it's wet? I mean, I know that I've had a few questions on, why hadn't it been graded?
On West Street from Santa Fe
Sorry, from
Highway.
Fifth Street, from Santa Fe to the highway.
We drug it a week ago, but before that it was froze.
Just after it rained? I mean,
We drug it
You drug it since
a
it
week
rained.
ago, last Friday. I mean, as soon as the freeze come off of it enough, we could drag it. But, when it's froze a foot deep, it's kind of hard to deal with much. I mean, we have drug it, but it's gonna get hard now. There's so much rock in it that it's gonna be that way.
Well, yeah. Just,
well,
I mean, just like all of us here do, that we got a window to, I don't know
And it's
what you
sometimes
guys
it's
got
pretty
going
short.
on, but it's something I'd like to have on the priority list with having that grocery store.
I'll tell David, we'll do it as often as we can.
I mean,
sure.
my opinion on it, guys.
Sure,
Do you have a scarifier on the front of your grader?
we do. And we have scarified it a couple different times because it was so hard that we couldn't penetrate it. So,
Anything else? Okay. All right, moving on. Mayor's report, I have nothing. Nothing under new, old
You
business.
jumped over John.
Oh, sorry. John, city attorney. Sorry about that.
Okay, well, I wanted to lecture council tonight, but I don't know whether now is appropriate or we wait till we have a new council member. But there's an issue in the past, and maybe the issue's taken care of itself, but the executive session is created for a couple purposes. And the main thing is, some of the information discussed in executive session is private to the individual being discussed. It may be private to the business that's being discussed. And it's done specifically to protect certain public interests. And the Kansas Open Records Act and the Kansas Open Meetings Act, how it's read and how it's interpreted is to err on the side of openness. And so when you create these exceptions to the Open Records Act and the Open Meetings Act, it's specifically designed to protect certain things, okay? That if that information would come out, would hurt the individual, and one of the things that keeps popping into my head is we've had a number of turnovers in the city, and if we're going to talk about what happened in executive session, you might hurt that person's ability to get a job later, whether that's done, and it may be unrelated to the reason for the person leaving or the person being terminated. The other thing is, you know, it has a dampering effect on communications within those executive sessions, and it also has the ability to cause problems between employees, things that are discussed in those executive sessions. And kind of the thing that's most important to me is if it's something discussed attorney-client, if one of the clients, which is you guys, were to reveal what happened in that executive session, then it subjects me to discovery, which means I may be ordered to produce my emails, may be ordered to talk about communications I had with my clients, because the attorney-client privilege is a privilege that can be waived by the client. The attorney can't waive that privilege. So if the client waives that privilege, it pretty much opens the door to any kind of information that may have happened in that executive session to come out. And so I want to be kind of cognizant of that. There's no hard and fast rule that says confidential information can't be divulged if that happens in executive session. There's no statute, no attorney general opinion, no rules. But if it does, then we kind of need to decide maybe we don't have executive sessions. And so I just bring that up. I know it was brought up once before in open meeting where somebody was being accused of violating, a city employee was being accused of violating some kind of rule because information came out of an executive session. But going forward, I think we just need to be extremely cognizant of that. Like I said, it is designed specifically for small issues that, for whatever reason, need to remain private because they're very, very private to those individuals or private to those companies. As an example, development and trade secrets are private to a business that may want to locate in St. John and need to be discussed in executive session because the business doesn't want a competitor to find out, and it may have a chilling effect for any kind of development and that kind of thing coming up in St. John. So I just wanted to share that information. Like I said, I was hesitant doing it tonight or whether it needed to be done, and maybe what I need to do is kind of put this in a memo for a new council member when we get to that point.
I still have it on my list to make the new hire or new council packet to teach all of my fun new council members the ins and outs of their new
That was when
endeavors.
Marshall came on the council and we were concerned about.
Yes.
Or when was it?
I think it might have been Jim.
Could have been.
Just kidding.
I'll take the,
Yeah, well, I think basically what he's saying is that whatever happens in executive session, stay in executive session. And if it's being talked about in public, you know, it makes everybody else nervous about going into executive session. You know, if you can't handle that, then
if we can't have
Just need
free
to-
and open discussion between us, ourselves in executive session without having the fear of it revealed as soon as somebody walks out that door, which I can think of 3 times we've had executive sessions, and that message was revealed before we got out of the building. And we've had some dog and pony shows over at the library because of messages that were revealed when we were talking to outside people, and that personnel were addressed, and he did not wish that out. And it was taken right out of executive session, right out the door, and it didn't take 5 minutes. And we can't have free and open discussion and make decisions if it goes right out the door.
Well, what it may
And then
do.
this would have to be a personnel issue, but because it involved a department head, it went to a dog and pony show.
It may get to the point where I have to protect the information I share with council in order to protect council. Is kind of the
So
issue.
basically, you would be shady to not telling us what we need to know
I'm gonna
because
sound a
of,
lot more like an attorney.
but basically not telling us what we need to know in fear that it may leave.
Right.
Yeah. I would rather know than,
I would too.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's talked about in executive session for a reason. If you can't handle it, then get the door.
I agree.
Like I said, it may take care of itself. I don't know.
Any questions for John?
What else you got? Is that all you got for us, or do we
Other
need to
than
do
the,
ordinances?
The ordinances, which one of them is just intended to relieve Bill of getting yelled at by people.
Oh, you mean the 1062-19?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how I can be any more clear at this point.
So what were the issues? Because it wasn't listed out specifically of what
Well,
couldn't go in there.
you've got an illegal dumping statute, that ordinance that applies to public property, which was intended when it was drafted to apply to the city dump. And then you've got a hazardous materials ordinance that says anything can be considered hazardous material, and I'm paraphrasing here, if it causes problems for city employees or contractors that have to pick up that stuff. And so, to me, if they're having to fish stuff out, or, you know, or remove tires, remove stuff that may not be considered hazardous per se, but is certainly causing problems for the city because they're in there. And so this just clarifies that if the sign is posted, or we adopt a regulation that says you can't throw stuff in that dumpster, then, and you do, then it's considered illegal dumping. It just kind of puts the two different penalty sections we have now into one.
And I just want to warn everyone is getting a ticket.
You're getting caught.
If we have them on camera, they're getting a ticket.
Good.
That's how I took it as when all this was coming back. So I'm just letting you guys know Bill is doing his job.
They gotta learn somehow.
The camera issue's good, Jeff? Good go?
Yes, it is.
Doing great.
With signs and.
We even scooted the dumpster a little today to make her a little better, so, yeah.
Sign was pretty straightforward.
Oh, we're getting an even better one.
And as far as like the cereal malt beverage one, that is just
They kind of
basically
brought the 10
adapting to
up
what
already,
the
so
changes
I'll
got.
just-
Yeah, and I the last time, 6 months ago or whatever, we looked at alcohol, I said, you know, it's my understanding they're gonna stop making 3-2 beer.
Right.
And the state is recognized that, so basically, if you have the authority to sell 3-2 beer, you're now gonna be able to sell, and I did not create the language, I would not have used the word enhanced cereal malt beverage, because that makes me think about the minerals that they put in my bottled water, that's enhanced bottled water. But, so I just, for simplicity's sake, because it was like 4 pages long, I just used what the league had already drafted, and I added our changes in there that we have adopted previously with regard to Sunday sales and temporary permits and that kind of thing, just, so I had to go through it, but I just
Right.
used their term. But anybody now can be, convenience stores, anybody that's selling 3-2 is now gonna have, as of April 1, the authority to sell strong beer. That's what we used to call it, real beer.
So we just need to approve both ordinances.
Right. They're, like I said, it's mostly a definition thing on the cereal malt beverage.
Right. Jamie, are these the right numbers?
They are.
Okay.
Look at me.
I'd make a motion to approve ordinance number 1061-19 on the cereal malt beverage.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
And I'd make a motion to accept ordinance number 1062-19 on the prohibiting disposal of certain items in city dumpsters.
Second.
Illegal dumping.
I'm reading what it says.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
I'd like a motion to publish the CMB ordinance by summary so that you don't have to pay to print all of it in the paper. We would just print the
The
summary.
summaries.
Yeah.
So
You want a
moved.
motion?
I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Is that it, John?
That is it.
Okay, any other questions for John? Okay, we don't have anything under old business, new business.
Transfer journal entries.
You guys are going too fast.
We got a lot left to accomplish.
Okay, so we kind of got into it when Danielle was here. Basically, you can slap my hand because I made these without prior approval, but I was just fixing the funds. So what was in your guys' packet is the transfer to and from to fix the police department vehicle that we thought was wrong, that wasn't wrong. And then everything that has been held back in the police department, the fire department, and streets. That has been in the capital outlay, I think is what they call it on the budget, but then it's capital improvement in the actual fund. But pool is still staying in Fund 50. So Pam and I created line items in Fund 61 to show the totals and kind of keep them separate like we had been in Fund 50. So basically all that's happening is the fix of the police car. That total is taken out of what the police department showed. Like, we just kind of made up for it in Fund 61, and then the totals for each other department. Because I got. Go ahead.
That's what this one is showing, how much is actually in the,
That is basically just the debit of, yeah.
that's what's left in the police departments.
The totals under here are just like the debit and credit totals. To get you the actual total of the police department fund, I'd have to look at that. This is just showing the debits
Okay.
and credits.
This is just-
moves.
Just the moves, okay.
Yep. So,
But each one of these 50 accounts is a special one for the police or the fire or,
yeah, and they're still gonna be there, if for some reason we wanna do capital improvements. But it is my understanding that that money is being saved for vehicles.
right,
I think I had talked to you, I tried calling Mike, and then I had talked to Jeff about the street department, so we just moved that over to be able to actually purchase vehicles or equipment, if needed, since
instead of it
we
going
learned
towards capital outlay.
Fund 50, you
Yeah.
can't do that, so we fixed it and we're ready to go forward.
Okay.
But that's all that is. I have this copy. I'll have you guys sign that just to have it signed. I actually have everything in the safe that you guys have to sign, so don't hurry up too far. Or after the meeting. So that's basically just that. So I just need a motion accepting these transfers.
I'd make a motion to accept the transfers and journal entries.
Yeah.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
And the next one's Jeff.
Jeff,
Jeff?
diesel fuel.
I called around today and got some prices on fuel. We're down to 6 inches in the west tank, which is a summer tank. So this is non-taxable fuel for the power plant, for the street department both, and the cost in the morning when the market opens will be $2.18 delivered. So I'm gonna take a third of it out of the street department. They did not help pay for the last load we bought. We took it strictly out of the power plant, but we'll take a third out of there, 2/3 out of the power plant. So,
How much you wanting to buy?
transport load, 8,500 or somewhere where, whatever they bring weight wise, you know, I don't know what it is anymore. I think it depends on whether the trooper's on the highway or not. Some days it could be 8,500, other days it might be 8,000, but I'm not sure, you know, whatever the load is. So,
And it's 218.
218. Yeah,
What's your source, Jeff?
I can get it either from Hamples or from Great Bend Co-op. They're both the same price. Freight's the same. I mean, it's last time we bought from Hamples, I thought I'd buy from the co-op. This time we usually trade off. So,
I don't care where we buy it, as long as we're getting the best deal.
I need to know where we're buying it from, so I can record it and not get in trouble from all
probably Great Bend
others.
Co-op, I imagine.
Great Big Co-op.
Yeah.
Do you get a dividend from them at the end?
No, but they both pay taxes here in the county and here in the city both, because they have propane tanks out here and we have Hamples out here, so we try and trade back and forth.
Yeah.
So,
Great Bend Co-op?
yes,
They own the propane tanks.
they own the propane tanks out
Which are
here.
in city limits.
Oh.
So,
Boyd,
Yeah.
I had one question, like where are we getting our gas right now? Like when we fill up Cop City trucks, where are we filling them up at?
they buy two different places. We
Shortstop
only,
and Hampton.
we only buy at the shortstop because we have an account out there.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's just whatever.
I know the school made a deal where they were splitting it between the grocery store and Kansas Co-op. I'd like to see something like maybe if we started buying something like that.
We would do that if we had a charge account, sure. We used to do it all the time.
I'd like to split
Yeah.
it between the two.
Yeah,
Well, Kansas
I agree.
Coop pays a 2%, if you have a card, pays a 2-cent
they
dividend.
pay a 2-cent dividend on our cards, yes. they
Yes,
do.
and then you get a dividend at the end of the year, so,
It's like
Buy it
sometimes
from the-
15 cents.
yeah. So the co-op would be considerably cheaper probably for us, but.
I mean, whatever the price
Grocery
is, it
store.
stays the same on both sides of the highway.
Yeah,
It's
the-
not
the
like it's a
posted
big
price-
profit deal for anybody, you
but
know?
The posted price
But do they
stays the
do-
same, but your,
Do
but
they
when you
do
get
a
your
charge
discounts,
account
it's
out of
not.
White's?
We
Don't
have
know.
a charge account, like,
With their
for
groceries.
inside. I don't know.
But ours would amount to several $1,000s worth of fuel, you know? I don't know whether they'd wanna
Right,
do that
but
or
you,
not.
but you're, if they don't, you're gonna have to put it on a credit card.
Yeah, and we don't have that much room, not for me to supply all the trucks.
That's what I'm saying, is if you're buying it and having to put it on a credit card.
And
you
as
have to do
Jim
something
says, we
different.
get a 2-cent discount for using our cards too.
I mean, I'm not opposed to buying it at both places or whatever, but
Well, I might check with Josh and ask him how they're doing it and see.
Well, I can always
I'll
go
out there
out,
and
I
talk
can
to
go
him.
out to the grocery store and find out.
You wanna check it out then and talk to
Yeah.
Josh?
yeah, I
I
don't,
just think it'd be nice to support both of
You
them.
bought a Kansas card, right?
Yeah, I have 2 of them. We have 3 of them between my
Yeah.
departments.
the city departments have them, which
Yeah.
makes it easy for them to fill up. They can
Right.
swipe it and get a
Yeah.
receipt.
And then you get the co-op dividend at the end of the year, right?
Yes, I think so.
Josh, he should talk to Josh Meyer.
Okay, so we're not gonna.
I just wanna buy some diesel fuel.
You
Just trying to find out, I agree with you, I think maybe we should.
And I'm pretty sure I read in the minutes that they went ahead and did something where
The
they're buying
co-op,
half
if you
and
buy
half.
it in
The school?
Great Bend,
That's
Co-op,
what I-
if you
that's
buy
what I
it
thought I seen in
in
the-
Most recent one,
you don't,
within
The
the last
Kansas
year.
Co-op's going to both
Got,
fuel.
I'll check it out, okay, thank you. Okay, if there's no more discussion on,
Did we do a,
If you're buying 3,000 gallons.
Where were you saying Great Bend Co-op for the
Yes.
diesel fuel?
Yeah,
218 a gallon, right?
218.
What?
But they're the same price as Hample. I just saying that Hample's actually local. Their office is here.
Hample's,
So we
Kansas
we
City.
paid this,
They got a building here and they buy electricity off us.
Great Bend Co-op pays taxes here in town too. I mean, I'll do whatever you want, makes me no difference.
I'd like Hample down here. We've
Well, I don't
been
care
there
where
for
we
years.
buy it from, as long as it's 218 a
I
gallon.
mean, if you guys wanna call it in and buy it, you do it, I'll stay out of it, I don't care.
It
Makes no difference.
difference. I don't care.
I'd like here, I'd make a motion to buy it here at Hample at 218 a gallon.
Right,
That's
tell me.
not me.
218?
Yeah, for
I just
transport
left it out
load.
way too many times in the minutes.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the table. Any other discussion? All those in favor? All those against?
I'm abstaining.
Abstaining.
That's what I'll do.
The motion carries 3-1.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rick.
No. I bought a lot of fuel there. Hampton bought cheap.
All right. Okay, got any other things there, Jamie, for new business?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Nothing I can't wait.
Moving on to executive sessions. I have an executive session to discuss attorney-client privilege. Councilman Amacias, how much time do you need?
We'll do 7 minutes
7 minutes.
to include mayor, council, this guy, and this
Attorney.
girl.
Okay, do I have a second?
What time are we coming back in?
Yeah. For 7 minutes, you have 18 after. 8:18, we will resume.
So moved. Second, whatever you need.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Call a regular council meeting back to order.
I would make a motion to recall Bob Mercer's appointment to the Rec Commission Board, effective immediately.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
I would then make a motion to appoint Burke Long to the Rec Board Commission, effective immediately.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Alright. Okay. Sergeant Elliott, you have a executive session right here?
No.
Or, excuse me, sorry. Jamie, sorry.
Thank you. You can call me Sergeant Jamie.
Sergeant Jamie? I thought you wanted general. Okay, how much time do you need? 8 minutes.
Really? You guys making fun of me now?
8 minutes and 25 seconds.
Oh,
You doing that?
Okay, so this is a non-elected personnel to discuss police chief applications, correct?
Yes.
How long? 8 minutes
Sure.
okay.
to include?
All of us and Bill.
So moved.
Second.
Let's go, let's go.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed?
8:28.
8:28. Called meeting back to order.
I'd make a motion to go back into executive session to discuss police chief application for another 5 minutes to include the same people.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
How
34.
Yeah.
how many minutes are gonna be lined up?
Call the meeting back to order.
I would make a motion to amend the agenda to add a, how long do you guys think? 5?
10.
10 minute
I'd say 10.
executive session, non-elected personnel to conduct a police department interview to include council, mayor, attorney, HR Bill, and Alan Adams.
Second.
Yeah, Bill and
Okay,
Alan.
I have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. We will resume the meeting at 8:45. Call this meeting back to order.
I'd make a motion to return to executive session to discuss the police chief application.
Same thing under the interview.
Same thing under the interview for 5 minutes.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. We will resume at 51 after. Call the council meeting back to order.
I would Make a motion to hire Alan Adams as the St. John Police Chief at the wage of $50,000 a year, effective immediately.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm putting Doran as the second on that one, just so you know.
She's gonna hold it underlined it.
Okay, with that being
Oh,
concluded,
we've got,
any more business?
yeah, you still got the land bank.
Oh, for crying out loud, I
Oh,
forgot about that.
I,
Okay.
Unless you,
I wanted to make an amendment. I know it's a bad time, but I really would like to talk about it.
about what?
About?
The land bank?
No,
Oh,
no, I'd make a motion to amend the agenda for 4 minutes for employee performance.
Non-elected personnel, only employee.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to send you my minutes to go
I mean,
over them.
I'd like to discuss it tonight.
so moved. Or second, or whatever. Who all you want in here?
Just mayor, council, and attorney.
Mayor, council, and attorney.
Okay, have a
4
motion and a second.
Might need a hotel.
All in favor?
Stay one up.
All opposed? Motion
Making your money
carries.
tonight, aren't you?
How much was that, 4 minutes? 56 after.
You better go 57.
57 after. Call this meeting back to order.
Aren't you?
I think so.
Okay, let's see. Okay, land bank.
Yeah, you have to
We need
recess.
to recess out of this meeting and go into the land bank. So right now, I am recessing this regular meeting of city council to go into
With no
land.
action being taken from your executive session.
Yes.
Yes, with no action being taken in our executive session, so. Thank you, Jamie.
No.
Who is
That
the,
would be me.
here you go, sir.
That's way too much power for you.
I actually prefer a bigger hammer, a mallet or whatever. Call land bank meeting to order. We have a 10-minute executive, well, actually, let's just take this back down to about 5-minute executive session.
For what?
What would be over property acquisition. So
To include.
to include council, mayor, attorney, and city clerk. 5 minutes.
It's not called property acquisition, it's called real estate purchase negotiation.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Real estate.
That's number 3 bullet point on it, isn't it?
I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Passes 4.
Return 906.
9:07.
I was wondering if you might.
Call land bank meeting back to order. If there's no other business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the land bank.
So moved.
Motion and second. All in favor? All opposed? Carries 3-4. I don't know. Do I vote on them? Yeah.
You're chairman, you can't vote.
Yeah. Okay. 4-1. Meeting adjourned. Now you can call it back to order.
All right. Call regular meeting of city council back to order.
We're done.
Having finished that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So if
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries
I voted yes.
4-0. Meeting adjourned.